It's the Kesha Said It Show. Hey, what's happening, everybody? What's up? It's the Kesha Said It Show. Y'all, we have made it to our final episode for February. I cannot believe it has truly been an entire month. You have 5 episodes as of today's episode to join my baby, my podcast, The Kesha Said It Show. Oh my gosh, who would have thought? Who would have thought, y'all? Today, so normally I do like a presentation or a promotion, kind of little quick little 20-second thing to kind of give you a hint or actually give you the topic that we're going to talk about on any given episode. But yeah, today is a surprise. Today is literally probably could have been just done live, but it's literally just y'all, we're here, episode 5. And my topic is actually going to be live and learn. You live and you learn. Have you heard that comment from your parents or from a friend or for someone or even from yourself, like in the background after you've made a decision about something and you're like, well, you live and you learn. So that's what today's topic is going to be about. And we do have our word of the day, as you can see down here below, right there. Resilience. So I think resilience ties right into that beautifully. You live and you learn, and because of that, you build resilience. So that's kind of what I'm going to speak to today. Um, Live and you learn. I can go all the way back to my 20s. I can go all the way back to my teen years. Shoot, I can go back to last week. And first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, because some of you, if you follow me on Instagram, or Facebook, you probably see there's a difference, right? Well, there is a difference. I actually got braids. Oh Lord. I actually got braids. Now, mind you, I love braids. Braids are a wonderful thing. There's a couple of things that I learned about that process. So I talked probably the episode that I had J-Mo on the show. Oh, that rhymes. J-Mo on the show. A couple of weeks ago, I think it was episode 3. We talked a little bit about the raw, the real, the uncut, and we talked about lace fronts. We talked about eyelashes. We just talked about man units. We talked about hair, all things glam, all things beauty. And I said that I cannot do the sew-ins. I don't really have a tender head, but I don't want to leave something in my hair that needs to be sewn in because I can't really get to my scalp and touch my scalp and, do all that. So sew-ins aren't my thing. Lace fronts aren't my thing because I don't want anything glued down to my skin. I don't want a line of demarcation right there. So anyway, long story short, I got braids. And braids is usually my go-to. So like when I get in this process, you can see my hair is growing and is doing its thug thizzle, is getting a little curly, a little wavy, doing its thing, right? And I'm not cutting it anymore. I'm growing it back into my signature style, which is a bob. So this process is happening with or without the assistance of braids, with or without a good hair day. It's just going down. It's happening. So I say that to say my infamous speech. I need a t-shirt that says that. I say that to say I got braids, y'all. I went and got braids. I went to my sister's lady. She does a really good job, by the way. If you're in need of a braider, she's very flexible with her scheduling. She's just very, very good. I have a couple of braiders that I use. I have my tried and true Miss Shay Shay that I haven't been to in a while, and I have to be a certain length of hair in order to go to Miss Shay Shay. So maybe in another 4 or 5 months, I'll go back to Miss Shay Shay. But this lady braided my hair, and She did warn me that it was going to be it was going to hurt. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm not the most tender-headed person, but I don't want to be in pain either. So when she said it was gonna hurt, I was like, okay, well, it's gonna hurt. Brains hurt. We always have like that 1 or 2 day of like, ooh, it's a little tight. I can't maneuver my head this way. I can't maneuver my head that way. So I was like, okay, I could do that. That's fine. And so I went in, I sat in the chair, I got my hair done. It took 9 hours. Let's run that back. It took 9 hours. Yeah. 9 long hours. I watched a whole series on Netflix. It was a 7 episode series, I think. And yeah, 9 hours of twisting and turning. And like, when is this gonna be over? You get to a point in your braids where your head kind of go back, depending on how heavy they are. 9 hours. That was a couple of days ago. As you can see, catches back to El Natural, right? Down to the grassroots, down to my hair. I took them out. I took them out. One, they hurt they hurt to high heavens, y'all. I've never, ever, ever gotten braids where my head was throbbing. I mean, my whole head, I could feel it pulsating. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even lay like my head like this. I couldn't lay my head like this. I couldn't lay my head like this. It was too much hair for my head. And she did them too small. She did them way too small. It could be because of the length of my hair. But here's the thing. I understand why braiders say, I need your hair to be a certain length. Okay. Because if not, then they have to do them small as can be. And it was too much hair for my scalp. It was too much hair for my neck. It was too much hair. So I lived and learned. That was my last week live and learn. Because I couldn't even hold my neck up. It was so painful, y'all. My head is still sore. It's still tender right now to touch. Like it's still very tender. So yeah, no, I can't do that. And second live and learn was when they tell you to buy a certain length of hair, buy the right length of hair. Now this is where I went wrong. And I take ownership. Last week's word, I'm going to take ownership for this mistake because if you're like me, listen, you can go in my closet, you could go in the trunk of my car. I got hair. I got hair on hair on hair. I got braiding hair. I got track hair. I got different color hair. I have hair. I've been dibbling and dabbling in hair and weave and styling and changing things up since 8th grade. So I'm going to always have some hair on deck, right? So the last time I got my hair braided, I had some hair left over. And for some reason, it was, I think, 72 inch. So when I talked to this particular lady, she's like, oh yeah, get the 52 inch. That'll be long. I was like, I don't want them long. I don't want to have to sit on them. I want them mid back. Da, 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 da. She's like, oh yeah, just did the 50 inch. But when I went in my truck and I went in my stash, I was like, oh, okay, well, this says 72, but my last lady was able to maneuver with it. I don't know if she cut it or what. So she should be able to maneuver with it. So when I went in and she's like, oh, this is the wrong length hair. I said, well, you could cut it, right? I said that 3 times. She did not cut that hair. Hence why it took 9 hours. Because I was wondering, I was like, why am I having to pull my head back? And she's still braiding. 2, why it was so heavy. 3, why I had neck pains. So when they tell you to do something, just do it. Don't try to say, oh, I know she could cut this hair. Like I would think that you would be able to cut the hair, but then that means she would have to go and she would have to physically pre-stretch it again and make it work, make it fit. So I guess she wasn't feeling all that, right? So she went ahead and braided that hair. That hair was so long, and y'all know I'm not the tallest person. I'm not 6 feet. That hair was so long on me, y'all. When I tell you I was sitting on the hair, I'm trying to hop up and get in my truck. I'm sitting on that hair. No, we're not doing that. And then it's pulling my neck and my head already. So it was just a cluster of shenanigans. It was a hot mess situation. It was not. No, 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 no. So live and learn. Live and learn. What are the lessons? What's my takeaways from that? Takeaways is stick to what you know, meaning stop trying new people. 2, follow directions. Okay. Follow directions. And 3, just know you. I know me. I know me. My husband said, listen, why are you going to get this done? You don't want that. Like, why are you doing this? Because he know lately, like, I am happy with this. I'm happy with this. This is comfortable for me. I can wash my hair when I want to wash it. I can wake up and go. I can put some product in it. I can, it works. It works for me. It works for my lifestyle. So know yourself. So yeah, you live and you learn. So next time I get braids, I'm gonna be very intentional. There's another word of the day that we talked about before. I'm being very intentional in what I want. I'm being very intentional on who I go to and very intentional on following directions. So yeah, you live and you learn. So yeah, that is why you see me, those that have seen me in the last couple of days or weeks, that's why I'm back to the grassroots. That's why I'm back to Kesha. Kesha said it. Y'all, this tea concoction is so good. I've always been a Starbucks girl, and I think I kind of talked a little bit about this as coffee people. But lately, I've been in my tea era. I have really been in my tea era. I love tea. I have always been a coffee person, but I really love tea. I love cold tea. I love hot tea at night. Before I go to bed, I like a cup of tea with a little bit of honey. Tea for headaches. I love peppermint tea, spearmint tea. I love detox tea. I just love tea, right? So I found a place that makes this tea amazing. Shout out to my sister. Like I said, I've always been a Starbucks girl, but this new place is really on point. So if you're interested, it's a cold tea drink that I get. It's black tea, but it has this flavoring in it, and it's so good. It's so refreshing. I legit like want to get one every day. I know I can't have one every day, but I can't get one. I want one, but I can't get one every day. So if you're interested in what that little concoction is, if you're a tea person, if you like sweet tea, if you like iced tea, if you like tea, period, because they do have warm drinks as well. But this particular drink that I'm talking about is a cold drink. Holla at me, get at me, drop a comment, whatever, and I'll let you know what that concoction is so you can try it and you can tell me whether or not you like it because I love it. It is definitely my thing. So anyway, so yeah, you live and you learn, man. I mean, life's lessons. Oh, you live and you learn. You live and you learn what you like, what you need in your space, what you need to have to make you happy. Whether, with your career, you live and you learn. Sometimes, making moves for a particular reason, which most people probably make moves for money because maybe they have to. Maybe they just like money. Who doesn't like money, right? Who doesn't like to just go do what they want to do? Who doesn't like financial freedom? Who doesn't like to travel? Who doesn't like to not have to stress and worry? Life is already stressful. Like, it definitely shouldn't be about money, but we make certain decisions based on certain things, right? It's funny because when I first met my husband, the little generic conversation, you start talking about like, oh, what do you do? What brought you to that place where that's what you decided you wanted to do for the rest of your life? Yada, yada, yada. So we were talking. And so, he told me kind of what his career path was, what he was doing. And he said, he knew that he liked this particular thing. Like he loved, dealing with numbers, or he liked math, or, very technical person. And then the potential of how much money he could make. I'm like, oh, wow. But I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, I'm in tune. I want to be in sync. I want to be in tune. I like the touchy feelies. I like, tell me about your problems. How can we work through these problems? oh gosh, well, that's, that trauma that you've dealt with. And I've always been intrigued by the human mind and brain and choices and what led to those decisions and how a person thinks and how a person moves and observing people and just being in that space. That is my jam. That is what moves me. That's what makes me happy. Right. So it's funny how people make decisions, on career, just literally by expectations of what they want. So it's funny, but you live and you learn, because I say, sometimes we make these decisions based on, if it is money, it's not necessarily the best decision to make, you know. If the grass was truly greener on the other side, I'm the type of person, I'm just that deep. I want to know, why is it greener? Because they both getting the same amount of sun. They both get nurtured the same kind of way. Why is this grass greener? Or it appears to be greener. Is it really that green? See, that's what I'm saying. That's where the rabbit hole of my brain goes. It's like never enough. Like, we got to break this down. Like, there's levels to this. I got to analyze this situation. But you live and you learn. So, it's taught me a lot about people, a lot about, sticking to owning those owning those decisions that you made, but yet sticking to who you are organically and naturally. And that's something, to me, you should never compromise. Is you. Whether you think you are, nobody's perfect. Let me just put that down there. Nobody's perfect, but whether you think you're right or wrong, it's still you. It's you, and you're going to own that. Some of those decisions may be good, some of them may be bad, but you live and you learn, right? And that does build resiliency in individuals. That does make us stronger. We take on these weights and these burdens based on our decisions, and at the end of the day, you still learn something from it, or you still got something from it. It may not be packaged the way that you expected it to be packaged, or look the way you expect it to look, but you did receive something from that. So, you live and you learn. We all make those mistakes. I'm sure that is something that you've made. And 2 years from making that decision, or 3 years from making that decision, you were like, I need to kick myself in the teeth for that whole decision. Why did I do that? Why did I, decide to do this versus that? Why did I, let that person in my life again? Or why did I decide on that vacation spot? Something may have happened that you were like, I knew better. Boop, light bulb. I knew better. Why did I do that? But you live and you learn. And I think that's all a part about life. You know, we evolve. Hopefully we evolve. Hopefully we take something from that. And we don't see it just as a mistake, but as something that needed to happen, in order to get to the other end of it, or get to the other side of it, moving down that path that we want to move down. But that little curve or that little fork was placed there for a reason, because there was something we were supposed to pick up at that little fork or that turn and put in our toolkit so that we could continue to move down the path we want to move down. So I do take everything as a learning lesson. Now, if you would have talked to me probably about 5 years ago, I would have been like, that's just a bad mistake. There's nothing to learn from that. It's just all around bad. But I've evolved, and I have learned to take something positive out of everything, even the hard situations, the hard conversations. So if there's something that you're going through, and some things you may not be able to find that positive, but being able to just have that conversation with yourself and be like, why am I going through this? In this point in time in my life, what is this geared to do? What do I need to learn from? What do I need to appreciate more? We get caught up in the day to day. We get caught up in selfless desires. We get caught up in wanting certain things. We get caught up in wanting certain people. But at the end of the day, things will align in a way that will show you, is this the best situation for you? Is this the best way you should move at this time? And it could be you're a workaholic. So your loved ones are taking the brunt of that. They never see you. They never get to spend that quality time with you, but you're working all the time to provide for your loved ones, but at what cost? And so something happens where you have to slow down, whether it be illness, unfortunately, whether it be layoffs, unfortunately, whether it be something that's just so heart crushing and wrenching, that you're like, why? Why now? Why? This is not the right time for this to happen. But maybe you're working yourself into a tizzy or a frenzy and you're almost about to pop or you're almost about to break. You need to be slowed down. You have to be slowed down. And in that moment, it may be uncomfortable, it may be rough, but I needed to slow down. I've been going 150 miles an hour for 15 years. My body cannot take this anymore. And I would have kept going if I didn't. Somebody or some forces did not hit that brake for me. I had to be slowed down because I have a lot of people that I know that are like the little Energizer bunny. They keep going, 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 going. For whatever reason, like I said, they need to in their mind and their heart and their spirit because of what their expectations are, what they need in their life. They go, 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 go. But the universe will slow you down one way or another. Whether it's the universe, whether it's your whatever you believe in, it'll find a way to slow you down. So you live and you learn from that. I hope you live and you learn from those hard stops. It's a hard stop. It's interesting because my mom, she's worked since she was 19 years old. She married my dad at 19 years old and instantly became a wife. Year later, they had my sister, instantly became a mom, and never stopped working. So when it was all said and done, she had over 40 some years of employment under her belt. And then COVID happened and everything went virtual, right? People were on Teams meetings, Zoom. I know stocks in Zoom probably went up because everybody was having Zoom meetings. Everything was virtual, virtual, virtual. A lot of it is still virtual, right? And so for her to adjust to a completely virtual world, she old school. Taking meetings and calls via a computer, first of all, a computer all day. That's what we doing now. That was like a huge culture shock for her. Like, what the world? I remember being at work in a meeting. She calls me and I'm like, Mom, I'm in a meeting. I can't take this call right now. What you need? She's like, I need you to. She was in a panic. She was in a tizzy. She was like, I need you to help me. I got to get on this meeting and I can't get on Zoom right now. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. And I'm like, I am in a meeting myself that is not on Zoom. I am actually in person. Because I'm those people that the needed people, what is it? The emergency response, first responder people that was on site regardless in COVID. Like I didn't go pivot to being virtual. So I'm at work and I'm in a meeting and she's calling me freaking out. And I was just like, God bless her heart. So because of that, COVID happened, virtual reality, virtual world happened, and she couldn't pivot. So it ultimately led to her retirement. And she was like, "Oh my God, I wasn't ready to retire. Oh my God, it really, it depressed her. And it was like, why? I can still work. I still got about 10 years in me." And I'm like, no, honey, you should have been done 5 years ago. If we're being honest here, because me and my siblings were like, you need to retire, you need to retire, you need to retire. And she's like, I'm not retiring. And then she got to the point where she was like, I'm gonna retire next year. I'm gonna retire next year. And it was always next year. And so COVID put a stop to that, right? Because she couldn't pivot and it was retirement time. So ultimately she retired and the answer to that didn't happen for another year. The answer to why she needed to retire didn't happen for another year, because within the 12 months of her retiring, my dad got sick. She needed to be a caregiver. She needed to take him to or attend his appointments with him because he was still doing his thing. You know, he is the true Energizer Bunny. But she needed to attend appointments with him. He went through several procedures. It was just a lot going on medically for him, and he needed the wife. He needed that support to be there with him throughout that journey. And so, a year in after that, I said, "So you get it now, right?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You understand why you had to retire?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "What have you done these last 12 months?" And she's like, "Your dad got sick. You know, we've just been busy trying to figure things out and get him on the road to health and get him back doing his thing and appointments after appointments after appointments after appointments." I said, "Exactly. How would you have done that working a full-time job, Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, whether it was virtual or not virtual, with the expectations of your job, your career, and then be the wife that you need to be at home and support him through this situation? How are you going to be able to do that?" And she was like, "Oh, wow. I never thought about that." I bet you didn't, right? So that's why I say the universe has a way of putting stops where stops need to happen, regardless whether you're ready or not. It will stop, 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 because that's life, right? And so you live and you learn. And so what she learned from that was she probably should have been retired. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, we got to start paying attention to those subliminal signs. We got to start paying attention to our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our spirits. You know, if you have become a person that you're not accustomed to being or seeing or experiencing, and maybe your close circle or your family is telling you, "What's going on with you?" And usually it's going to be the parents. Your parents are the ones that's always going to say, uh, "Something's up. What's up?" And you're like, "I'm good. Ain't nothing wrong with me," you know. But they know because they know you best, you know, because they birthed you, they raised you, you know, whoever that person is, a grandparent, a parent, maybe the best friend that knows who you are at the core, your character. And they see a change, they see a shift, but you're always the last to know it. Trust and believe you are always the last to get that memo that things are shifting for you or you're not the same person. And so they call it to the table. And then, you know, if you're that person that's going to say, "Let me take a hard look in the mirror. Let me take a deep dive and have a tough conversation with myself," something is off. What is it? Are you overworked? Are you underpaid? Are you stressed out? Do you have medical issues that you've been kind of like minimizing or avoiding? And it's time to tackle that, because it's easier for us to just continue. It's easier for us to go through that motion. It's easier for us to just normalize things. "Oh, I'll go next week. I'll do this next week. I'll figure it out next week. Right now, in the moment, in the day, I got to do this. I got to do it this way. This is what it's always been. I'm good." But what's happening is you're living in a fog. So you're not really paying attention to what those signals or those signs are, unfortunately. So everybody, everything is a living. We live. You know, the longer you live, the more you're going to learn. But it's what you do with that information that predicts your future. It's what you do with that information that makes the change. It's what you do with that information that helps you evolve. And if that's something that you're not willing to do, then guess what? You're going to continue to not learn. So I am an advent person for lifelong learning. I believe, as I mentioned earlier, you learn something from everything, but you have to be willing to put those glasses on, um, metaphorically and literally, so that you can see what's up, what's what. So resilience. Our word of today's session. Look at me. Ooh, that's that therapy in me. Our word for today's episode is going to be resilience. Being resilient. You know, you have to be resilient in order to move on. The true definition of resiliency is to make you stronger so that you don't break, so that when those challenges come, and they're going to come and they're hitting you from the left and from the right and from the side and from the back, you're not going to shield it. You're going to let them come, but you're going to work through it, right? There's no flighting. We're going to fight. I know you guys have heard of fight versus flight. Everybody's built different. Everybody has a way of handling things. But are you going to fight or are you going to flight? Sometimes it's very uncomfortable to deal in the now, which makes people very avoidant, but you have to tackle it, because if not, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to stay right there. So you have to take those tools that you put in your toolkit along that path, even though you had that curve to the left, curve to the right, squiggly line going this way. This wasn't your planned path. It's something that you grabbed along the way, right? And you're going to put it back in that toolkit, and it's going to build you up for the next challenge, because you've probably already faced it in the back at some point in your life, but it now is presenting in a different way. But the skills you have are going to be priceless because they're in your toolkit, and you're going to be ready to be the best you. You're going to be resilient. So that's what resilience is. And I always, my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, because I have quite a few based on genre, and this is going down my rabbit hole. It wouldn't be the Kesha Said It show if I didn't go down a rabbit hole at some point. But one of my favorite movies is The Wizard of Oz. And if you really break that movie down, it's so many Easter eggs in there, meaning there's so many little nuggets and gems in that movie. People just see that movie as, oh, this is a cheesy, corny movie that I saw as a child. Watch that movie as an adult. Let me give you some homework. I'm going to challenge you to watch The Wizard of Oz, not The Wiz, The Wizard of Oz, the original. Okay. Watch The Wizard of Oz as an adult. Think outside of the box and tell me what you get from that movie. Because the Yellow Brick Road is not just the Yellow Brick Road. The stuff that the characters, Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow, went through on the Yellow Brick Road to get to the Emerald City, that's life. It's all life. So watch The Wizard of Oz as an adult. Tell me what you get from that movie. There's so many gems you can get from that movie. And you're going to see it through different lenses. So like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend. Now, listen, I've been looking at the analytics, y'all, and I'm about to take y'all to the principal's office right now because these numbers ain't numbering. And I'm saying this on every episode, and it's making me upset. I should not have to. I got too many people out in this community, too many friends. I got friends and no people. Too many connections to have not at least 200 subscribers by now. I need you to tell people to subscribe because it's only going to get better. This is our pilot season. I'm only 5 episodes in. I've only done one guest. It's about to get greater. All right. We're going into the beautiful month of March. And there's going to be some stuff that we're going to talk about. So I need y'all to tell a friend, phone a friend, connect a friend with the Kesha Said It show on YouTube. It's free. It costs you nothing. Go ahead and click like, comment, and subscribe. Give me your input. Let's talk about some topics. If it's something you want to know, you want to chat about, you want me to chat with you about, go ahead and drop a line. If you want to be a guest to chat about your own topic, go on and drop me a line. Go on and drop me a comment. If you got a word of the day that you want to explore and have my perspective on it and what it means to me and how it resonates with me, go ahead and drop a line. But I need you to start by telling a friend. So like, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend, coworker, cousin, whoever, an ex. Okay, let's build this community. Let's build this community. All right, guys, we're out of time for today, but I hope that this episode was quite a surprise for you. And hopefully you found some Easter eggs in this episode as well. But as always, don't forget, you got to say what you need to say. You got to have those tough conversations. And if you can't, then what do? Tell it to me, because Kesha said it. I probably already said it, to be honest with you guys. But anyhow, we'll see you next week. Peace.